Good evening, guys, and welcome to the Weekly Armchair. I'm Reece, I'm your host, and we're going to be talking on quite a few topics, but this is mainly for a sort of preview for Saturday's game against Burnley. So we've got Dan, Deck, and Cian in to support me tonight and come up with some good talking points. And Dan's a Burnley fan, so he's going to be talking all about Burnley tonight. So, but yeah, we'll get. You all right, gents? Anyway, you okay? How are you doing this evening?
All good, mate. Thanks for having me.
Good. Deck, you all right, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. Delighted to be here.
Brilliant. And Cian, we were chatting just before, mate. You're all good, yeah? You're on mute, but we'll take that as a yeah. No, right, sound. Let's get right in. Hi, mate, you're all right. Right. We'll get right into it. What's that, sorry, Cian?
I was going to say, glad we weren't doing this yesterday or the day before. I wouldn't have been no use to you then.
All right, okay. I don't know what that means. We've had a few too many, maybe. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure.
No. It's just I had surgery there Monday, so
all right.
I was still a bit kind of spaced out and whatever up until yesterday evening, really.
Oh dear. Well, like I say, we've got you on the show tonight, mate. So I appreciate that. So thank you. We'll get right into it, guys. I just wanted to do a bit of a roundup on Wednesday's game against Sheffield United. I don't think we managed to do that in the midweek on the show, so it's just an opportunity really just to have a kind of a roundup of the general performance, any talking points around kind of individual players and the style of play, the goals, and obviously Bruno really, I suppose, kind of in a way stepped up in that game and showed us that, you know, there's probably only him at the minute that can get to that level and pull us out of a bad spot. So in no particular order, Deck, I'll come to you, and then we'll work round. And Dan, I'll let you have your say. I know you're a Burnley fan, but you might have a few comments on it. But general overview of Wednesday's game, mate, how did you feel it went?
I definitely it's that game epitomised our season. It was up and down. Didn't expect to go behind. Always thought that United were going to win. I thought Bruno's display was a proper captain's display that game. He led by example and he basically dragged the team over the line. Been really impressed with Harry lately. Seems to be pushing up a lot more and getting involved in everything. Definitely think he's benefited from losing the captaincy at United. He didn't need the pressure of it, you know. He got it too soon. And look, to win a game, that's what we wanted 4-2. We shouldn't be giving away 2 goals to Sheffield United, in my opinion. No, as little disrespect as I can give to them, you know. We shouldn't be giving goals away to them. We needed the 3 points. We have to keep pushing on. Don't think we can make top 4 now. I'd say that's finished for us anyway. But we just need to become more consistent in our performances. We need to go again now tomorrow at 3 o'clock and put in a good performance, and hopefully the team will show up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was at the game on Wednesday, and I don't know. I mean, the goals were against the run of play a little bit. I think we had majority of the ball, but it was just very, very kind of slow and obvious and pretty boring, really. There was a few fans in the crowd sort of screaming it, moving it quicker, and it's been that kind of theme, hasn't it, all season, Deck? It's been a bit obvious and a bit easy to defend against, and we get counter-punched, don't we, when we lose the ball in kind of bad areas in our own half, or playing a silly pass like Onana did, trying to get out. You know, and that's kind of been a general theme, hasn't it, this season, where we've seen those kind of silly...
Definitely too slow moving it from the back to the into midfield and onto the forwards. I mean, we're giving teams a chance to set up against us and defend, and it's, as you say, it's been all season. We haven't changed it one bit, and I think that's why we're getting so many shots against us, because we're so slow. People are learning that they can pick it up off us, and if they put pressure on us, that they can turn over the ball, and it's something we're going to have to change next season. Otherwise, it's going to be another season of dismay.
Yeah, like I say, I totally agree with that. Unfortunately, I think that's just the way that our season's gone, and it's you're almost getting to that point now where for us it's just like you just want it to end now a little bit, don't you? I suppose, you know, in a way, and just reset for next season. But you know, still to play for, and I think a lot for these players to fight for as well, a little bit in terms of kind of where they're going to be next season and whether we keep a few of these players around. So, Cian, I'll come on to you, mate. How did you sort of take Wednesday? And is any, obviously Bruno was an obvious positive, but other than, well, mention Bruno as well, but I mean, any other positives from that game that you're taking from that, mate, on Wednesday?
Yeah, to be honest, I think the only positives out of that were Bruno and Maguire, really, because even like as bad and all as bad and all as it is, conceding 2 goals against Sheffield United, which shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be having to be going behind and coming back against Sheffield United, and 2, we shouldn't be needing 4 goals or finish a game finishing 4-2 to be able to beat them and feel some bit comfortable at the end. And I just think, like, and no disrespect to Burnley, but to be honest, I'm not even expecting much from tomorrow, because if anything, of not even last Wednesday, but if anything, last Sunday taught us, yes, brilliant, we got through to a second FA Cup final in a row, but you just can't trust the team as a whole, and I don't mean even the players that are on the pitch. I just think it's a mixture of attitude and team setup, whether that's transitioning into attack or whether it's transitioning into defence. We just look all over the place. It's like as if it's all or nothing. And what I mean by that, it's either like the other night where it's slow, or else it's just 100 miles an hour. There seems to be no in between. There's no one, like I say, there's been numerous games there this season where we've lost, or say where we've been 3-1 up, 2-0 up in games. There's no one there saying, right, put the foot in the ball, relax. Do you know?
Yeah, and I think we were chatting a little bit before the game as well, and before we came on live, and Dan asked about the Coventry game, which is a prime example of that, isn't there? Where when you're in games and you're winning and you're comfortable, it's about putting your foot on the opponent's neck, if you like, so to speak, and killing off a game. And we seem to sort of lack that kind of ability to do that, don't we? Where there's control, there's a tempo, there's a difference in a style. It all just seems to be sort of at one pace, doesn't it? Cian, do you agree with that?
Yeah, and actually, funny enough, I think if I remember rightly, Sunday when our third goal went in, I remember lying inside in the bed in the hospital, and then they came in and started doing the ECG in me. And I think once they started doing the ECG, we started conceding all the goals. So I think, to be honest, and I hate saying it because obviously I love United and support United for the last 20 odd years or more. But you get to the stage with this season, and I was actually supposed to be going to tomorrow to the United Burnley game, but can't obviously because the chest. But you get to the stage with United at the moment. Is there a point in even celebrating goals? As in going mad, like, because you can't trust them to stay ahead.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was just before we get on to that, though. I mean, that guy's commonly referred as Reece number 2. By the way, I'm Reece number 1. So if you just I don't know where he is, but yeah, I agree. I was, like I say, I was in the game on Wednesday, and I just it was I took my little lad, and he almost had to pick. He was the one picking me up off the seat. He was like, he got obviously right up for it, but it's been that kind of like almost. It was flat. He felt flat in Old Trafford as well. There were seats still empty. It was flat, and I mean, it was just it's been a weird kind of season, a weird atmosphere, and it's been unfortunate, really. I think for a neutral perspective, we'll get on to Dan now, who's kind of probably in that camp in terms of from a neutral perspective from Wednesday. We've been entertaining, that is for sure. I think every game you watch, there's goals in it. So I think from a neutral's point of view, I think you're guaranteed a topsy-turvy sort of game. I mean, Dan, leading into tomorrow, how are you taking? I mean, you're probably watching the Liverpool Liverpool Everton game anyway, weren't you, mate? So
No, I was in work, so there's 2 or 3 United fans that were watching it. They got it up on the phone and they were watching it. So, you know, as a Burnley fan, I like to take the mick a little bit. They like to give it back. But it's, you know, one thing I will say is Bruno gets a lot of bad press. And I think that it was nice to see the video all over social media of Fernandes showing his like human side. You know, he didn't just go up and expect, you know, he went over. There were a Sheffield United player down on the deck. Physios are dealing with him, and he's gone over and he's actually asked them, "Can I have a drink of water? Can I have this? Can I have?" It just shows that there actually is a nice person in there, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but for someone like Bruno, who is quite a high caliber profile of player, he does get a lot of bad stick. So fair play to him for that. I totally agree with you guys as well around Maguire. Like Deck said, taking the captaincy off him has just allowed him to sort of not have to worry about how everybody else is shaping up, but more about his own game instead of trying to focus on others. So it's a lot of focus. My main thing regarding this game coming Saturday is that you've now had 2 games against, I won't say poor opposition. I mean, even Sheffield United probably thought, we're against Manchester United, let's go for it. So I think obviously just there's been a lot of football for Man United, and it's whether they have the legs to continue that on Saturday or not. And for me, it could be a positive or it could be a negative in terms of, well, that's 2 results that we've nearly chucked away. Let's not make that same mistake again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think fans are, you know, we're all, you know, some of us have grown up in the 90s when we've been spoiled. You know, I can put my hands up to that. You know, and the fans that haven't and are older than that, you know, they know what it was like prior to us winning everything. And I think when you get to this stage now, it's we need to accept that it's going to be a tough period, especially when there's so many clubs now with money involved. It's going to be more competitive than it's ever been. I think what we want to see is just a little bit of fight in these players half the time. You know, Bruno's kind of one of the players that does that. He fights from the front, doesn't he? And maybe that sometimes doesn't help him with some of the fans, but it helps him with some others. You know, some others appreciate that side of him. So you're never going to win everybody over. But in terms of his, you know, his end product, in terms of his goals and his assists and that kind of stuff, you can't, you know, you can't take that away from him. He's doing it, isn't he? And I think as fans we need to recognise that. And Wednesday was another example. Yeah, it's Sheffield United, but you know, it's still backs against the wall. We went behind twice, and we had to come back.
They're tough teams to come up against, though, Reece. Like I said, they're in a position where you see teams, even in the lower leagues, that have already got that big fat R in brackets next to the name, and they just play with that freedom because they know full well that that's it. We don't have to worry about trying to stay up or whatever. It is what it is. And they end up getting results. And we are at that business end of the season now where, you know, teams that are chasing something sometimes struggle against a team that has nothing to fight for.
Definitely. I mean, teams like that coming to a pitch like Old Trafford and playing under those lights, you know, of course they're going to want to play and give it their all, aren't they? Especially if it might be some of the last those players ever get to play on that pitch, you know. Yeah. And so yeah, no, totally get it, and that's probably why these players have got to realise that every team that comes and faces them are just going to want to beat them. And I think they get a bit of a shock. Some of these players, maybe more so the kind of foreign ones that, you know, didn't expect like a Coventry to turn up and start putting a bit of a fight in, and that's going to happen in the English pyramid system, isn't it? Everyone is going to want to beat Man United. So no, that's great. We'll move on slightly. Dan, we'll come to you and we'll work around to Deck the opposite way around. But we'll just in terms of Burnley, really, obviously Vincent Kompany, I've heard, surprisingly linked with the Brighton job. I didn't even know De Zerbi was thinking about leaving or even touted for leaving, to be honest. I know Brighton haven't had a particularly fantastic season in compared to previous seasons, but equally they've had a lot of players kind of, you know, poached by the bigger clubs, if you like. So I mean, what do you make of that? What do you make of, you know, Kompany leaving? How do you think his season's gone? Your season in general? You still got some big games. I still think you've got something massively to play for. I think you've still got an opportunity to get out of this, haven't you? So
yeah, 4 cup finals is how I've looked at it. I keep saying I'm on the optimism train. However, I'm now hardening the bogs without a ticket. That's sort of the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, it's the company rumours. I think we had it a lot with Sean Dash before he inevitably got the chop. He were linked with jobs left, right, and centre. We sort of just kept knuckle down, did what we needed to do. We've never been seen as a club that just hires and fires. We always seem to have managers with longevity. You know, someone that's willing to come here with a vision and try and see that out. And I think companies, well, let's not forget, he got promoted at the first time of asking, and he came here with a 3-year plan to get the club back to the Premier League. So Roy ready 2 years ahead of that with a completely new squad that, like I said, last season, you felt like you were mates with them players. You felt like if you dropped them a message on Instagram, they'd go for a pint with you. But this year, there's a little bit of, who are we? The identity seems a little bit lost. However, it seems that we are starting to form something, and it's come at a pivotal time. It couldn't have come any. I mean, it could have come earlier. That would have been a great start. But obviously, whenever it comes, you just got to hope that it clicks.
How are you feeling about kind of? I mean, I'm not far from Leeds, unfortunately. So I've got a lot of friends, colleagues, and all that kind of stuff who are Leeds fans. So you know, I've heard them sort of say that some of them would be quite happy for them to stay in the Championship. They enjoy the games more. That they've got a chance to sort of enjoy what they're doing more, game in, game out. You know, every season. And you come to the Premier League, and I think with the way the world is now, it's so difficult to compete at that level when you're coming up from the Championship. It almost becomes, like you've just said there, you get a little disillusioned. I mean, how are you kind of, what do you want out of this? You know, if you went down, would that be the worst thing in the world for you, or?
No, not really. Not really. I think I feared for it more last year because, the year before that, because we were going down. We'd lost a long-term manager. What's the next move? Where do we go? Tons of players out of contract, losing, you know, our key back 3 assets in Port, me and Tarkowski. And you're thinking, what happens to Burnley? Are we just going to become a statistic like Rochdale, Oldenburg? Are we just going to fall into that category? Are we going to go from this, you know, small town club back into being just that? So there was that worry. Now I feel like we're better suited. I think we've got a very young squad. We've delved into the foreign market, something Burnley aren't really known for because a lot of people just used to call us Brexit FC. So we're starting to do, the whole ethos of the club has changed. And I think it's changed too quickly for Burnley itself. And I know the thing is with the Premier League, it's an adapt or die situation. We were playing dinosaur football under Sean Dash. Yes, it was getting results. Let's not shut that idea off. But you've got to start changing to the way things are going. Otherwise, you do just become a number in this division. The Championship, what a division, by the way. I'd probably say the Championship takes over now as the best league in the world for me. Because it's so hard to get out of. It's unpredictable. Apart from Rotherham, who seem to just constantly be there, no matter whether they get to League One or Championship. It's quite interesting to know that let's call it as it is. In the Championship, there's no VAR, ball hits the back of the net, happy days. That's it. How football used to be.
Yeah.
You know, the refs judged on human error. I think is it come out today about Sweden have said no to VAR or Scandinavia or something like that. Fair play to them. So I totally understand. That's a show in itself anyway, but it's you know the golfing divisions. It's clear to see that you have to be a top level athlete to compete in this division. We've got a bunch of kids. We've gone from having probably one of the oldest squads in the Premier League in probably modern Premier League era to now having the youngest in the modern Premier League era. So you've got to understand that some of these players come with naivety. Some of them come with the fact of this is a learning curve for them. Every single game week is a arm in awe because I'm playing against Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, etc. I don't know. I want to say that good things will come to Burnley, but relegation could cost us quite a lot. Personally, I want to stay up for a financial reason more than anything. But if we go down, from what I'm hearing around the club, we should be fine anyway. And company is still very much wants to be pivotal to getting the club back in the division if that's the case.
Yeah. Just a quick one, Dan. Just there from I guess it's Cian who's been typing this, so he's watching us behind the scenes. But just obviously Cian from being from Ireland, he's interested in a couple of your players there that and just wondered how you think they've been performing, like O'Shea and Cullen. Have you got a kind of view on how their seasons panned out?
Yeah, it's been strange because obviously Josh Cullen followed company from Anderlecht, came to us and was a big key player in that championship season. He won Players Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, and he was such an unsung hero. It must have been so difficult to pick a Player of the Year when you've had the likes of Nathan Teller firing on all cylinders, Anas Sarori, Manuel Benson. They were all just doing bits in the championship, and yet Cullen was in there doing what needed to be done, doing all the grafting, the hard work. O'Shea, obviously, still young. I think he's only 24. He's come in. He's had a few sketchy games every now and again, but he's got a split fan base as O'Shea at Burnley, where some of them are like, he can't defend. He's got a mistake in him every odd game or two. But he's growing on me as a player. And like I say, he's been with West Brom for years. You know, it's his first season at a new club. Let him get these mistakes out of him. Learning a new system, by the way, because this is a very fast-paced one-touch football system. You know, as a defender, you've got to be very ball savvy. And at the moment, as I said, as a youngster, he's still gonna be learning because half of our squad, in terms of age, technically babies.
Yeah. No. Well, like I say, I mean, I can't say I know too much about those two players, but I'm sure Cian does. So hopefully that.
Cullen for me, obviously the first game of the season against Man City, he was very much found out, and I think company realised that maybe we need somebody else in midfield to toughen us up, and I think that's why we acquired Sander Berg from Sheffield United. But then Cullen and Sander together, we've just been a rock. They seem to know each other's game. It's, Sanders had more chance to roam forward instead of just having to sit as a box-to-box. And Cullen's game sort of come back. So, yeah, I really rate Josh Cullen. I think he's an absolutely fantastic player. And like I say, I think there's room for O'Shea to get better and grow. Brilliant.
No, thanks for that, Dan. Right, we'll move on slightly to the window, actually. So, Cian, I'll come to you just on kind of players we mentioned earlier on about, the Wednesday's game, and obviously, there was a couple of positives out of that, but there's been a lot of rumours about sort of Deadwood leaving the club and all that kind of stuff, and obviously players that we possibly might need in with certain ones potentially leaving. We don't know what's happened with Casemiro. I suppose Rand's been up and down with injury, etc., etc. So, where do you think we need to sort of like focus on for summer, and equally, who do you think might sort of be leaving the club? What's kind of your take on that for this year?
Yeah, for this year, I suppose everyone, I don't know about yourselves, but I've only ever been hearing of anyone that's leaving, and all I've heard in terms of what's looking like definites that are coming from the names that are fairly concrete are Joe Neves, possibly, Michael Olise from Palace, Taribo from Nice, and then Braithwaite from Everton. Like other than that, lads, I don't know about you, but I've not heard of anyone else kind of concrete enough that looks like coming in the door. But as for going out the door, it seems like nearly everybody is going by everyone's list anyway. Now I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, Casemiro, Varane, they need to get out the fucking door fairly quick." I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, because if you're going to have, for example, right, I'm not saying, and I know Cian will be in the comments about Rashford, but what I'm saying is, like, if you have, say, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, maybe McTominay, for example, maybe Maguire, Evans retiring, Wan-Bissaka leaving, and then if you're talking about adding Casemiro and Varane, sorry, no lads, if I'm missing anyone else major there, but I just think if you're going to have those two, yes, in terms of form, two of them haven't been on top all the time. Yes, I know people saying Casemiro's legs are gone, but I just think, lads, in terms of experience, to leave those two of them go in terms of experience. And what I mean is, I don't mean necessarily starting every game, but even having them around the squad, because I think personally, I don't know about Jay, I think Varane, when he's been fit this season, and he's been fit for a majority of the season compared to most seasons here, I think he's been quality, and he's shown that. I don't know. Let's have any of the rest of you any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll Deck, we'll come on to you, mate. I appreciate that, Key. I mean, you sort of generally agree. I think all my United fans do agree. I think the trouble is that we have, and we were chatting about it before we came on about. I remember Rangnick sort of going on about sort of certain players and an overhaul, and I think he called it open heart surgery, didn't he? And his comments have been dismissed, but yet this season I think they're sort of coming to light a little bit in terms of the attitude he spoke about, and certain players needing to leave, and yet some of those players are still there after several managers that have been and gone. So I mean, is it players? Do we need to bring 2 or 3 players in and let 2 or 3 players going out, or is it just as simple as the manager's not getting it right and it's not really players, it's just a case of system and trying to understand that? What do you kind of pinpoint to, mate? And who do you think we need to sort of focus on for summertime this year?
I expect to see a few players going. Definitely, I think when Rangnick was talking about open heart surgery, we started that when we got rid of Pogba. We're seeing his buddy now, Martial, who thank God he's going this summer. It'll be a welcome relief to see him walking out of the club, because I think he's been a player that has shown everything that's been wrong with Manchester United. Not willing to put in the work, not willing to put in the effort on the pitch, and happy to sit there and claim a wage. I'd expect to see Amrabat. I don't think he'll be kept. I kind of agree with Cian. I'd keep Varane and Casemiro for their experience. They're not going to play every game next season. If we're going to bring in new blood, players can only learn from players of their quality. They're definitely, I think Casemiro's legs have tired this season in comparison to last season, but his quality is still there. I think Maguire will stay. I wouldn't be surprised if Lindelof goes. I like Wan-Bissaka. I think he's had a good season. Himself and Delo have had a good season. I'd be keeping them. Wouldn't be surprised to see McTominay go, even though I've credited him all season for having an impact when he's come on. Rashford has had a very, very poor season, and I suppose I've been one who's questioned his mindset more than his ability. He doesn't seem that interested in it this season, but at the end of the day, he's a Manchester-born lad that I think wants to do well for the club. Whether it's off-field stuff that's affecting him or not, I don't know. But his quality was there for everyone to see last season. He can't have become a bad player overnight, so I'd expect to see him there. Who we're going to get in? Well, we're Man United. We're linked with every player in the alphabet. That's the problem. And when Man United come looking, that's when extra millions get added onto the price. We need to get players in that want to play for the club, that are hungry to prove themselves and give everything.
Dick, if you want Wout Weghorst back, you can have him if you want.
Do you know what? Wasn't the most skillful, but I actually loved him. Great. I loved him and thought he was brilliant. I knew he wouldn't be staying, but I actually thought he was. Do you know what? He showed how to fight for United. Wasn't the most skillful, wasn't going to get you 25 goals a season, but you knew he was going to break his back, trying everything to get United to win. And unfortunately, a lot of our players haven't shown that this season. You know, he, at least when he was there, did put the work in. You know, so I mean, I have to give him credit for that. He showed a bit of character, showed a bit of heart, and at the end of the day, is playing for the crest on the jersey, not the wage packet they should be concentrating on, in my opinion.
Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, the thing for me, and we spoke about this in an earlier show, maybe last week. I can't remember which exact. I think it was a review of one of the games. It might have been the commentary game, actually, to be honest. So it was a bit of a flat one for us, but just out of the nature of the kind of how we won that game. But we mentioned about United of old, as well, at least sort of Fergie's era. What Fergie did great with is getting players within the league, you know. And I know we're probably not in that position currently just to go and get the best player from the best team. And it's not necessarily about getting the best player, but getting players who have been and done it and have earned the stripes in this league. You know, this is supposed to be the toughest, hardest league in the world. And yet we go abroad and get players for mega bucks and see if it works when we bring them in the Premier League. And it doesn't necessarily sort of work. And, you know, go get players who are doing it week in, week out in this league, in teams where, they might not necessarily be in the top teams, but we know they can perform. And you know, that's the issue for me. We get these big players, or so-called big players abroad, and they come here and they're mega bucks, and we've paid mega salaries or mega fees, and it just doesn't work. I don't know why we don't look more within the league itself, but yeah, definitely think we need a couple of signings. Just quickly, Keane's just dropped in, just in the expectation that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will sack Eric Ten Hag at the end of the season. Any truth in that, guys? Do you think do you see that happening?
Sir Jim, I think, is going to be ruthless in what he wants to do. He has an idea of what he wants for Manchester United. He's bringing in the people that he wants at the top to run the football side of things. So I don't think anyone can expect to be safe when he's making decisions. He'll have a plan in mind for next season already. He knows what he's going to do. We're all guessing at this stage. I've said it time and again, I'd give Eric next season. I don't see a lot of managers out there at the moment that we can bring in. Nothing that would spring to mind. But yeah, Sir Jim is going to be ruthless in what he does. That's how he's done so well in his business. It's not by playing nice, not by making friends. It's by doing what he believes is going to be successful for him.
You're doing the right thing though as well. You're doing the right thing by changing everything above first.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just go in and be like, right, change the manager. They'll get a fine tune out of these players. Some of these players have been at Manchester United. I think I said it to you, Reece, didn't I, off air, that even Mourinho came out and said there's 6 or 7 bad eggs there that I wanted rid of when I was there, and they're still at Manchester United. So you've got to sometimes look at it and think, let's see what the guys upstairs say. Because if you can get a perfect team that works in line with each other, then off the pitch works, they can get it to work on the pitch. And it's not just like you're appointing any Tom, Dick and Harry. You are appointing people who have had such good CVs to back them up. You know, you've had somebody come from City who understands how things work. You've got, Dan Ashworth, who's literally been poached to be this next thing to take Newcastle to the next level. you've had someone at Southampton who we've always known Southampton's academy has been one of the best for years, producing lots of Walcott, Bale, etc. So you're doing the right things above, and hopefully that'll stand you in good stead when it comes to matters on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely, Dan. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, it's probably come a little later than most expected, but it's happening now, isn't it? And that's what we can be positive about. Cian, what's your thoughts on that? Are you taking any truth in? I mean, would you welcome Ten Hag going at the end of the season, or do you think he deserves another year? What's your take on that one?
This season, what I look at with Ten Hag is it's a mixture. Some of it is obviously his fault. Some of it's down to some players and their attitude, and some of it, there's no doubt whatsoever, is down to medical staff. Because whatever about the injuries we were picking up the first half of the season, the second half of the season is making no sense. Because very few weeks we've had only one game a week, and we're still having near enough the same amount of injuries. Now, I know other clubs can be similar times, but at the same time, you can make allowances for someone breaking their leg or breaking an ankle or damaging ligaments in the ankle. But I'm sorry, but the amount of muscle injuries we're getting, like, what on earth are they doing in training? But as for this season in general, I think Ten Hag would be more safe for everyone, whether it be at the club and fans, if this season happened last season. I think the problem is why a lot of people are not knowing whether to stick or go or what is because last season, finishing third, winning the Carabao Cup, which is basically going to be the same season the other lot are going to have, and there was talks of quadruple and whatnot with them, but anyway, they wouldn't know what that is if it slapped them in their face. But anyway, it's just, I think because there was probably an expectation during the summer we were going to kick on and do even better. I suppose we're getting to 2 cup finals, winning one, but I still think, like, if this season had happened last season, Ten Hag wouldn't have been going anywhere. I know some people are very against it because of how things have gone from. But if Ten Hag was to go, the only one that's jumping out of me to bring in is Tuchel.
Yeah, well, Cian said the same thing.
Yeah. And I know he's supposedly meant to be an argumentative, so and very stubborn and strong-willed, but I think whoever's going to be the person to replace Ten Hag is going to need to be like that, I think, as well, especially with all the changes upstairs too.
I mean, I'm a bit torn on it. I think he has made some really poor decisions. I think what worries me a little bit about Ten Hag is his. I mean, it doesn't affect football, but then again, you could argue in the modern day game that it does. But it's his press conferences and the stuff that he says, and it's almost, is he deluded or is he just really trying to divert from poor performances? Really, and it's more just a tactic of his in press conferences to divert. I don't know, but he's made some really bad decisions at the wrong times in games, and games where we've been in control, especially the European sort of games this season where we've been in control and then seemingly lost games. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to call for anybody's head. I think, I think we do need a bit of a change. I think he's had 2 years, and I think he's made some poor signings as well that haven't really worked. So we'll see. I mean, like you said, Jim Ratcliffe is not a guy who's going to sort of make a quick decision on things, is he? And he's got obviously Dave Brailsford there, sort of under his right arm, sort of making some decisions, I'm sure, as well. So yeah, I'm sure they'll get the right man for the job if they do end up sacking him. So we'll see.
Tuchel's actually a shout. I said it I was talking with a Chelsea fan during the week. I said one of the strangest decisions I've seen Chelsea make in recent years was leaving him go. I actually didn't understand it at the time because I thought personally, he done so well for them. You know, what was it, 60 wins out of 100? Then they got Potter in, which was a complete disaster. Now they've Poch in, which is hilarious. You know, so I mean, I couldn't understand why they got rid of him at the time. Yeah, I actually forgot about him now. He wouldn't be a bad shout to come in. Nothing wrong with a disciplinarian coming in. We saw it with Fergie. There was no crap, no shit. It was either Fergie's way or no one's way, and that worked wonders for us. Unlike you lads, I'm a 70s child, so I remember seeing United long before the 90s and not having the success we did of the 90s and the noughties. But what we did have was we always had 11 players wearing a United shirt that would go out and bust a gut for the team. And that's what we want back, and that's what we need.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's all we're asking for. I think we can accept that. Like I say, in the current climate, we're going to be competing against some strong teams in that league, and expecting to not compete for that league in terms of you just walking away with it would just be naive. City aren't going to go away anytime soon unless the Premier League pull a finger out and get these charges sorted out. But they're not going to go away anytime soon. Obviously, Arsenal and Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool are not going to go away either. So, yeah, I think we've just got to accept that the league's going to be competitive. But what we want to see is just like you say, Dec. It's just players going out there and fighting for the badge and putting a good performance. I mean, just chances. That's what, to me, a United team's all about: creating chances and moments and making it exciting. And it hasn't been that for quite some time, has it? So it's just been a bit of a poor watch for us, I think, over the last few years. So, right, gents. Well, we've got about 15 or so minutes left. I must have a fan in the group as well. I don't have a lot of these, but thanks to Jake, who said I must be doing a good job. Well, that's always good to see. So thanks, Jake, for that one. Don't know if he's
Jake
watching. Yeah, Jake's actually my wife. She's just changed her name on social media and called herself Jake. And no, I haven't asked her to message in at all. No, that's a genuine fan. There you go, Dec. So, yeah, 15 or so minutes left. So we'll get on to tomorrow then. Dan, I'll come to you, and we'll work his way around and finish at Dec. Just in terms of kind of thoughts on tomorrow's game, sort of general sort of thoughts on your starting 11 and score prediction, mate. So, yeah, do you want to fire away?
Yeah, I think, like you said there, we mentioned earlier that teams now look at Manchester United, and there used to be a fear factor that came with Manchester United, and a lot of teams don't feel that now. Like, no disrespect to Manchester United, but a lot of people just see them as a brand and not a football club anymore. And I think that's why someone like Jim Ratcliffe and his not taking any shit attitude is going to benefit Manchester United long term, in terms of that there is going to be, a backbone to Manchester United now. The fact that you've had, 2 tough games, that you should have had comfortably in the bag. A third one coming up, you're thinking, what is Ten Hag going to have to say to these players to try and get another tune out of them? I mean, it was close at the turf when we played you. I think, was it December or September time? I'm not sure. But either way, we lost 1-0. Good goal by Fernandez, by the way. Not going to take that away from him. But we've got something to fight for. Away from home, we've been an absolutely different animal. It's not been happy place, turf more. It's not been none of that crap. It's actually been dross, to be honest. But on the road, we seem to, dig deep and try our best. It's strange to say from an outsider looking in that, I think Dec said it earlier, or Cian, that it was Manchester United used to press teams, always get in their face, counter-attack them under Fergie and stuff. And now teams are just accepting United coming forward and then counterattacking them, which, hopefully will play into our hands this weekend. Other than that, I don't know. I need to stop thinking about what's happening between Forest and City and think about what we're doing. To be honest, so we've got a good. I think we've got you guys. Then we're at home to Newcastle, who are still hit and miss. Then away at Spurs, and then obviously at home to Forest on the final day, which should be tasty. But I don't know. We have a decent record at Old Trafford. We seem to always give a good account of ourselves. If I remember rightly, I think there's been a few Boxing Day fixtures where we drew 2-2. Jesse Lingard bagged them both that day. That's saying something. I'm surprised I even remembered era football. He's a TikTok star now, isn't he, or something like that?
Not ended well for him, I don't think either. Has it?
A professional dancer.
Hey, some people pay good money for them. But it's times are changing, and I'm just hoping that we can get something positive out of this game. Again, it goes back to what you guys were saying. If we lose and it is what it is, and we eventually go down, I'm not that arsed as long as you see blood, sweat, and everything on that shirt, because you can accept it when they've worked their arse off for it. Score prediction, it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be scrappy. I can just see it being, I don't know, towards the latter stage of the game, you trying to catch us for set pieces, because that's where we've been crap. But again, all it takes is a moment of brilliance in this game, and I think that's all it's going to be, another one of those scrappy 1-0 games that could go either way. Hopefully it's to the team playing. I believe we'll be playing in yellow, so I'm hoping, it's the team playing in yellow come tomorrow that get the result.
Yeah, what's your? I mean, Dan, look, I think I'm obviously a Man United fan, and I want us to win, and I want us to dominate the game and win comfortably. But it's been so wide open against teams that are fighting for something, usually at the bottom half of the table with us, where we give teams like that sort of some level of, I don't know if hope's the word, but some level of kind of feeling that they can get something out of this game. And I think you've said it in the past you've said it about us in the past that even just us turning up and standing in a tunnel with those players from those Rooney, Ronaldo teams in the 90s and stuff. Those teams were already beaten before they came out and played Man United. But these days now it's kind of, it feels like the opposite, at least to me.
Yeah, there's no fear factor. There's no fear factor of going to Old Trafford anymore. Everyone sort of used to look at Old Trafford and play Manchester United away from home as, if we give a good account of ourselves, brilliant. It's a day out as an away fan. Nobody gave a shiny shit about the result because they knew they were going to go to Old Trafford and probably get licked. Simple as that. But now people are going there, even at 2-0 down, still thinking, we've got a chance in this game. If we keep our heads down and keep going. And I think that's the mentality that needs to change. Obviously not from the opposition's side, but from the United side, that needs to change. That we shouldn't be giving them chances and optimism. We should be seeing them off. It's tough. I just think our starting 11, we've got a lot of players that like to play tiki-taka style, shall we say. There's the odd one or two players that are actually starting to gel. I think Wilson Odobert, Lyle Foster, Datro Fofana, that front three is sort of working well for each other at the moment. And, the result we got at Sheffield United, that just shows how bad Sheffield United are, by the way. We put, I had an Arsenal fan going, we put 11 goals past them this season. I went, well, it's not too bad. I mean, but we're right next to him and we popped 9 past them. So don't get on your high horse, Arsenal. Calm down. So we've just got to take that momentum. Keep going, keep battling, keep fighting, take each game as it comes. I sound like Dash now. It's the fine margins of the game. But we go again. It's just another game of football. Lace your boots up, go out there, put on a performance, and what will be will be.
Yeah. Well, I've no doubt for the neutral watching, it'll be another entertaining game. Down that is for sure. So Yeah, we'll definitely have to see tomorrow at 3:00. But no, I appreciate it, Dan. Thank you. Cian, we'll come on to you, mate. What's your feelings on tomorrow's formation? Generally about the game. Obviously, with Burnley's position, obviously they're fighting for quite a bit at the minute. Do you worry about that? And the position we're in, I suppose we're not really kind of fighting for anything now. We've probably got a long way to catch, Spurs. But yeah, what's your general feelings on the game tomorrow, mate? And then formation and score prediction. What you thinking?
Well, it's not going to be easy, and that's for certain, because like every side that comes to Old Trafford, whether it be Liverpool, whether it be Burnley, whether it be Luton, it's still everyone's biggest game of the season, playing Man United, regardless whether that's a home or away, and that's regardless whether United are like they were in the 90s and the 2000s and the early 2010s. So, and as well, I suppose, in terms of Burnley's case, which you've been in the relegation places, I'm sure you're going to be up for it. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if Burnley were to get a draw or a win. But at the same time, one thing's for certain in it, as we said earlier, it won't be boring. But I can see Maguire or McDonagh or someone like that getting a winner late on. And it's going to be a bit of a slog, unfortunately. But in terms of teammates for who to play, I suppose probably be pretty much the same as the last two games with the back five. And when I say back five, I include the goalkeeper and that. Midfield, I think, to be honest, if we're going to have to try some bit dominate the ball, Eriksen has to be in there rather than McDonagh. No offense to McDonagh. And then I suppose,
would you start Eriksen started, I think, didn't he, on Wednesday? Would you start him again then? Is that I
would, yeah. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to start Christian Eriksen against Burnley at home. No disrespect to Burnley or anything, but I wouldn't go starting Eriksen in games anymore against any of the bigger sides. But I think that Ahmed should definitely be given a start ahead of Garnacho.
Right.
I'm not saying Garnacho in terms of form, because Garnacho has, in terms of goals and assists, his numbers have come up this season. I just think the lad needs a rest. I know lately, the last couple of games, he hasn't been great. And I know some people have been kind of crucifying him in particular. And we know one person in particular that supposed Nottingham Forest fan that acts like a Man United fan. But anyway, well, I can't even bring myself to mention the name. But anyway, so I just think, for Garnacho's own sake, I just think what's happening to him at the moment, I don't think it's even him being out of form. I think he's kind of burnt out. And I don't know about you lads. I look at Garnacho, right? There's times I think, I don't know. Then there's other times I look at him and I think it's very similar to what Cristiano Ronaldo was before he became excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I like Garnacho. I think Garnacho is going to struggle a little bit with Ronaldo's physical size. I think Ronaldo sort of grew into a frame that he already sort of naturally had, didn't he? But I agree with that, Cian, in terms of I think he is tired. I think we have put a lot of reliance on him. Personally, I like him better on the right. Yeah, he seems to like these. I've banged on about this, like on X and Twitter or whatever you want to call it, about inverted wingers these days and Pep's kind of influence on the rest of the league and playing these formations now where everyone else seems to copy that kind of style. And inverted wingers for me are kind of a little bit, unless you've got a system that is absolutely figured out. I don't think for us at the minute, the style we're playing, it works. And Garnacho on the right, crossing balls in, I think it's a bit more back to basics, but it works. And playing him on the left, I think he finds it difficult a bit more than he does on the right. And I wasn't very impressed with Anthony on Wednesday. It doesn't beat his man. He's not brave enough. I agree. I'd play Ahmad. I'd play him on the right there, or equally him on the left if you're going to switch him with Garnacho. But resting Garnacho, I think, is probably a good idea. But he's a young kid, and if he's fit, then play him. But I suppose it comes down to his own mentality, doesn't it, as well? Whether he wants to play. The young players don't generally want to play every minute that they're given, don't they? So that'll be interesting, mate. And obviously the Ericsson one, I agree with you. I think it'll be a toss of the coin in terms of whether he plays him or McTominay, really, I suppose. But did McTominay sort of give a little bit more in that performance on Wednesday that turned the game a little bit? I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll see. But I appreciate that, Cian. What was your score prediction, by the way?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say that. 2-1.
2-1 to Burnley. Cheers, Cian. Thanks, mate.
No, United.
I'm only kidding. Right.
Just that I leave that there, so Dan was getting his hopes up for a second.
Right. Okay. Right, Decker. What's your predictions, mate, in terms of formations and generally your feelings on the game tomorrow? Are you confident going into that tomorrow?
I think it's going to be much the same as the Sheffield United game. I think it's going to be a bit madness. And as Dan said, Burnley are a young team. They're going to love the fact that they're coming to Old Trafford and that there's not much pressure. There's not much expected of them, but they're fighting relegation. They're going to bust a gut on that pitch. They're going to leave everything on the line and they're going to want to make a good impression. That's why I think it's more than likely going to be a 4-2 to United again. I don't see it tight at all. I like Keane's points, but I'd definitely be starting McTominay. I think he breaks the ball up more. He offers more going forward. I think Eriksen's been found out this season. I think he's tired. I don't think he's up to the pace of the Premier League at the moment. He's a more skillful player than McTominay, but what we want at the moment is we want players that are willing to put the foot in and kick the other player up in the air, and that's what I think McTominay offers more. I think Højlund could have a good game tomorrow if we can get him to service, but we've been saying that all season. If we give Højlund the, he's actually going to do good for us, but they have to get the ball into him. Garnacho's young. I wouldn't be resting him at all. I mean, he can run for fucking days. I mean, leave him at it. If he turns around to the manager and says, I need a break, then grand, I'm all for it. But if he thinks he's fit to play, ready to play, then leave him at them. He's been doing good this season. No young player wants to be sitting on the bench. And that's what we want to see. We want to see players fighting to be out on the pitch, but I can definitely see another mad game tomorrow because Burnley are going to be attacking us. We're going to be attacking them. Unfortunately, we give away a lot of chances, so I do see Burnley scoring. I just think United have the chance and the ability to score more. So that's why I'm going 4-2.
4-2, yeah. Like I say, a big, good game for the neutral. I think that's kind of what we've offered up for this season for neutral fans, isn't it? Like an entertaining, end-to-end, exciting game, which for us as fans is probably not the thing that we want to see. But no, I don't disagree with either of you guys. I think it'll be one of those games. It'll be fairly open, and God knows what the score is. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see United win sort of a nice, comfortable 2-0, but I don't think it'll be that. I think there's a draw in it, to be honest. I think it'll either 1-1 or 2-2. I think there's a couple of goals in it for each potentially, but I think going forward we're starting to get goals, but like you said, Deck, we're conceding them as well. So and chances, so it's going to be wide open. But no. Well, look, thanks for your time, guys. I think we've rounded up nearly an hour. Well, we're just getting to the hour mark now, so I think it's been really, really good. Dan, appreciate your support and coming on the channel and giving your take on your team on Burnley. And I'd say good luck for tomorrow, but I won't mean it. So I'm not going to say that.
Good luck after tomorrow, Dan.
Yeah. I appreciate you having us on. Like I say, I've grown up around family members that are Manchester United supporters. I did have I did when I was younger have Manchester United wallpaper because I was just mad about David Beckham. as a kid. So
this is when fans saw, really.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is just a cover up. I've just you guys have said, go on, you've got money, buy a Burnley shirt and pretend to be a Burnley. No, I'm joking. But no, I just, you know, growing up, my family were trying to force me into the Man United thing, but I just fell in love with my hometown team. And like I say, I appreciate it. Always look out for United and stuff like that. I just think that you guys will get the good times back. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Dan. And like I say, you know, no one wants to see City win this league for the next 10 years, do they, back to back or anything like that. We want to see some variety, as well as for us, Man United winning the league again. But, you know, appreciate that, Dan. Thank you for that. Cheers, Cian and Dec. Thanks for your time. I guess you can catch you all on your socials. Dan, can you catch you on next? Have you got a tag handle there, mate?
Yeah. As I say on most podcasts, I'm on everything but OnlyFans. Just at Turf Morehouse is where you can find me, and I'm usually there talking crap about Burnley anyway. But I'm doing a watch along for the game. I'm not on. I'm not going tomorrow, so I'll be doing a watch along for it. So if people want to watch me chat crap, and don't worry, I give a fair assessment of both teams. I've not got claret tinted glasses on when it comes to the game. But no.
Well, we know where to go if we want to throw a bit of hate as well. We can go to Dan's.
Oh, feel free. Yeah. I might be 2 or 3 beers
wide open there, though.
Mate, I left myself wide open last season. I literally went live on the final day, not last season, the season before, with a Leeds fan who was watching the Leeds-Brentford game, and I was watching Burnley-Newcastle. He's there jumping around in excitement with his missus at Leeds stayed up. My missus had gone out, so I'm sat here with my head in my hands, nobody in the house. I'm just staring at the 2 big bottles of Peretti I had in the fridge, just going like, right, that's 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and I'm going to bed.
Oh dear. Well, hopefully, like I say, good luck for after tomorrow, after Saturday, and
appreciate
around about 5 o'clock. But yeah, thanks, Cian. Where can we find you, mate? You on X and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Everything bar obviously OnlyFans, because I am married. Jesus, that never fucking do. We'd be divorced if that was the case, but anyway. So yeah, suppose look, on all the usual socials. I think my Twitter one is Cian O'Sullivan. I think the Instagram then is Cian C O'Sullivan 1996. Facebook as well and all that. So I'm sure Dec is the same, yeah.
And you, Dec, we got you find you on Twitter, mate. I can see your Twitter handle there, so the guys can catch you on there, can't they?
Yeah, giving away my age there now. I told you I was a 70s child. Unfortunately, I'm working tomorrow, 12-hour shift, so I won't get to see the game, but I will be keeping an eye on it online. All right. Dan, thanks for everything you did tonight. Very honest, very good about your club. Sunday onwards, I hope you do great. Tomorrow, I just hope we get to 3 points.
I totally understand.
And on that note, guys, I appreciate your time, and we'll round up and catch us all on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, lads.
So much.
Bye.